Hey guys, this is Maggie. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Vintage Twist Co. Thank you so much for being here. So this week I am working on this vintage dresser for drawers. It's got some really unique handles that I like, and yeah, so I am just going to get it all cleaned up and ready for sanding and painting and all that good stuff, so stick around. At the bottom of this dresser, in each corner, was a really long bent over nail. I couldn't tell what purpose they served, so I took them out. If anybody has any idea why they might have been there, just leave me a comment down below and we can discuss. You may have noticed that this dresser is an Arborite dresser. There is a thick, plasticky kind of material that's on the top surfaces. And you definitely can paint these type of dressers. You just need a really good bonding primer, which I will use. The top of this dresser was really scratched up to begin with, and I tried sanding it, and then I tried my scraper, and then I tried a chemical stripper, which you guys know I don't like working with it. It's not that it's a chemical, it's just that it's messy and it doesn't smell very good, and I just don't like it. So I spread it all out. I just was using a piece of old sandpaper, as you can see, to spread it. I put a really thick layer on. I was feeling really impatient that day, and I also felt like the stripper wasn't going to work either, so I didn't leave it on the full amount of time. I only left it on about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes. And maybe if I had left it on longer, I could have gotten more off, but being Arborite, it's like a sheet of, I don't know what it is. It's Arborite, so it obviously was not working, I could tell, and so I scraped it again, And then I gave up and I decided I was going to have to replace the top. Once I got the top off, I realized I was making the best decision I could for this dresser. It was terrible. There was no way I could get it smooth on top, even if I had put a thin layer of like joint compound or wood filler or whatever. It's still, I don't know, it was bugging me, so I just got rid of it. As you can see, I still was trying to salvage this top. I was going to try and pop the Arborite part off and use the frame and just add a piece of wood on top of it. But that also was not working. It wouldn't come off very easily, so I gave up. The corner joints on the dresser were coming apart, so I just opened up the space a little bit more by hammering it, and then I injected some wood glue. And then, oh, there's Max. That's his only appearance in this video, I'm sorry. So then I'm going to use my clamps, and I didn't have a long enough one, so you'll see what I did here to remedy that in a moment. Just let go. Oh, careful because it might fall off. No. Okay, can you hold this again?
I have a wet hand.
That's okay. Just need your holder right here. Got it?
Hi.
Go from here to here.
It's so
Whoops, whoops. Hold it. Hold her up, man. Pull it back a little bit, closer to this edge. Okay, just not too far, just like that. Hold on here.
God, I suck at this.
It's okay. Yeah, Nate. Hopefully this will hold. It's coming off. Okay, I think you can let go. So I've got two clamps clamped on themselves and then onto the dresser. It's kind of hard to explain, but hopefully you can see what I mean. So when I did the last Ugly Duckling challenge, I took apart a coffee table, and so now I'm using the base that I had on the coffee table, and I'm going to cut a new top for this dresser out of the base. If you haven't seen that video, I will post a link here somewhere and down in the description as well, in case you wanted to check out that other video. I would just like to take a moment to say thank you to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate you. And if you aren't subscribed, then please consider hitting that subscribe button so that you can see some more of my content. Also, I'd love it if you would hit the like button on my video. And also, if you have any questions about anything that I do in this video or any other video, please leave a comment and ask me. I'm always willing to give more information than I give on my video, because sometimes when I make my videos, I don't always remember to explain everything that I do. So if you need to know anything, please just let me know. I am just tacking in the bottom of these drawers because there was nothing holding them in at the front, and some of them were bowed a little bit in the middle, and I felt like this might help that. I also tacked it down at the back because some of the original staples were falling out. I found 2 splits in one of the drawers, so I squeezed in some glue and clamped it up to make it nice and strong again. Then I got out my wood epoxy and mixed equal parts together, and I formed it onto the side of this drawer where a large piece of the wood had chipped right off. You want to make sure that you mix your epoxy together really well, so it's one consistent color. And this one that I'm using is kind of like a brownie batter. It's sticky and gooey, and it's a little tricky getting it to get into a shape that looks okay, but it's easy to sand. So once it's dry, then you can sand it to form the shape of it better. I also used some to fill the holes that were in the new piece of wood that I cut for the top. There were these grooves in the fronts of the frame. They sit underneath the drawers, and when I was cleaning this dresser, I noticed that a bunch of fluffs and cruds was stuck in there. So I decided to fill those in so that that won't happen again. It'll just kind of keep it cleaner and nicer looking. So I'm just adding some water to my plastic wood because it was getting kind of dry and crumbly. It's a lot easier to use if it's more like a pancake batter or cake batter. And now I'm moving on to priming. So I did 2 coats of primer just to give it a really good base for the paint to stick to. On the side of the dresser, I noticed that the Arborite was coming off. All the glue had let go. So I'm just re-gluing it, and then I'm going to add some brad nails to hold it in place. One of the brad nails, when I shot it in, it popped this little block of wood off of the back. So I'm just gluing it back on, and these little blocks of wood are holding the backer board onto the dresser. I'm just going to sand down the wood filler now and make it nice and smooth, and I'm almost ready to put my first coat of paint on. These are just some little plastic drawer slide protectors. I took those off before I painted. Right now I'm still doing primer. Just using a nail set on those brad nails that I put in to hold the sides on. My brad nailer doesn't always shoot the nails all the way in, so I usually have to use a nail set to get them in further. And then I'm just going to add some wood filler to cover up those nail holes. Almost all of the dressers and stuff that I work on have these metal tacks in the bottom of the feet. In this case, they were holding on the metal parts at the bottom of the legs. So I had to pop those off in order to get the metal parts off of the legs. I just throw them out. These are one thing that I don't keep. I keep a lot of things from my furniture when I refinish them, but those are not one of them. There are a lot better things to put on the bottoms of furniture these days, like the felt feet that I normally use. I get them from Amazon, so I can post a link in the description below. Using my Carbide Scraper this time worked really well on these legs. The finish came off very easily. It only took me a few minutes. I used a 120 grit sandpaper to clean them up after. I did a time lapse of boiling the hardware in a 50-50 water vinegar mixture. I had just boiled it for a minute or so, and then I took them all to the sink and rinsed them off. And then I used some Barkeeper's Friend and a toothbrush to clean the rest of the finish off of them and the dirt. Barkeeper's Friend is another one of my favorite products to use when I'm refinishing furniture. That one and Simple Green. They're both, they work excellent. And then I gave all the hardware a light sanding with a fine grit sanding foam. Then finally I was on to painting. I mixed a custom color, which means I took 3 or 4 different colors that I already had that I only had a little bit left of, and I added them all together to make one color. I do this quite a bit because I don't always use a whole jar of paint, so putting like several together can give you a nice new custom color. I sanded down that MDF board that I'm using for the top. Remember I filled those holes, so now we need to sand them, and the light stuff sanding on too to get ready for paint. I found a piece of scrap wood that I was going to use for the front, but it didn't work out for me, so I ended up buying a piece. I tested a couple different stain colors on a scrap piece of this pine board, and I decided to go with my Fusion stain in Espresso, and then over top I did the one called Cappuccino, and it kind of muted the Espresso color a little bit, which is kind of what I was going for. And I ended up doing the same stain on the legs. However, being different woods, when I put the stain on the legs, it looked a lot oranger than on the pine. Is oranger even a word? I don't know. I'm getting really tired. So I put a little bit of my nutmeg gel stain on top of the Espresso, and that gave it a more oranger color, and it matched a lot better. I clamped the new board to the front of the top so that I could drill holes and countersink with a countersink bit, and then I could attach it with my screws. And then I took a piece of dowel and I added some glue and I hammered the dowels into the holes. And then I just used my my little saw and I sawed them off. It just makes little wooden plugs to cover up the screws and fill in the holes. I try not to cut too close to the wood, and I leave a little bit of the plug sticking out, but that time my saw nicked it a little bit, so I just added a little bit of stain, and actually I think I sanded it a little bit first to make sure that it wasn't jagged or anything, and then I added some stain, so you'll never notice. I used an antique gold spray paint on the hardware. I did not film that part, I am sorry. And now I'm going to add some gilding wax over top of it. The gilding wax is almost the same color, but being a wax, it will seal in the spray paint. And also I feel like the wax, the spray paint is really yellow, and I feel like the wax tones down the yellow just slightly, and I like it a little bit better when I add the gilding wax. Yeah. Now I've sanded down the paint on the top, and I'm going to add the top coat. I use a really large deck staining brush to add the top coat, and that way I don't have to have as many brush strokes. I find it works really well actually, and it's really quick to apply on large flat surfaces. All of the drawer slides and the drawers got Howard's Feed and Wax. It nourishes all of the wood, and it helps the drawers slide in and out a lot smoother. It's time to attach the new top. I'm just using the existing holes and the same screws that the other top was held in with. Perfect fit. I only had 3 of the screwed in felt pads left from my last batch that I ordered from Amazon. So I needed those for this dresser. I find that some of the dressers need the screw in ones, and some of them I can get away with the tack in ones. This one, the holes were too big for the tacks. So I needed the screw in ones, and so I only had 3, so I just chose one of the back legs to use a tack in one, and then I just used some really strong industrial glue. I also sanded down the rest of the dresser and added a thin layer of Howard's Feed and Wax. Okay, this dresser I am calling done. I don't really know what to say about this one. I had so many interruptions, but really, I'm not really making any excuses. It's not my favorite. It didn't really come together how I had hoped. I had to replace this whole top, and there's just some little things about it that I don't really like. When I replace the top, I have a little bit of a gap here now because this board is a little bit narrower than the old board that was on there. Yeah, so there's like a bit of a big space here. I can't really fix it, and you know what, I am just done with this dresser. There's also a couple of other little issues, like these legs. The post that screws into the bottom is sticking up so high that this drawer at the bottom hits there. So what it needs is some metal washers to go underneath here to bring the front up a little bit, which is good because it's kind of lower at the front than it is at the back anyways. So that's what it needs. So the two front legs need washers. Then I noticed when I was putting some wax on that I can see primer through this section right here, and I think I can see a little bit down here. I didn't paint underneath, and I guess the paint, when I put it on, it didn't go. I should have wrapped it around a little bit, at least around the bottom, and you know, I missed that. Yeah. There's also a gouge in here that I didn't notice until I started painting, and I was having a day and I just decided to leave it, and now I'm regretting that. Yeah, so I mean, other than that, I guess it's okay. I don't like how the legs don't match the top. I tried to match the stain as best as I could, but it's different, completely different wood, different grain pattern, different everything. So I should have probably just painted this piece because I don't like how it like really stands out. The color's okay, but I am kind of over this color. I've painted a few that are like all in about the same color range as this one. And although they sell really well, I'm kind of over it, and I don't really want to paint any more of this color, even though I still have like a full jar of this color. So I might just put it aside, and maybe sometime next year I'll paint another one the same color. Anyway, so I'm done with this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it for sale. Maybe somebody will love it and they will buy it. If not, and it sits here for a while, because like I said, I don't really feel like working on this project anymore. So it could be a month, two down the road. I have no idea. I'm gonna set it in my shed and deal with it another day. But if somebody wants it, then they can buy it, and I'll be happy that it'll be gone. And if not, then I'll just hang on to it, and I don't know. Maybe I'll donate it. I have no idea, but I want it out of my brain, and I want to be done with this one. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Yeah. So that's this project done. I'm sorry that my video was not uploaded on last Sunday. But unforeseen circumstances happened, and life happened, and that's just how it goes sometimes. So anyway, if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more like this, then, or maybe like better, you can check out some of the videos that I already have, or hit the subscribe button to see like the next projects that are coming up. I have a really cool bench that I found at an estate sale, and I'm excited to get busy on that one. I also found a vintage rocker swivel chair that I am going to attempt to reupholster. I'm not an expert at all, but I'm gonna give it a try, because you know, like, all you have to do is watch 3 videos on YouTube and you'll just be an expert at pretty much everything. You're 3 videos away from being an expert at doing everything. And that's my philosophy, and I'm sticking to it. So, thank you for being here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next Sunday. Have a great week. So dumb. I have to go back inside.